Hey guys, Jordan here. Welcome back to part 2 of the Intel bundles that scan are running until the end of the year. They're working with Intel to give you guys some discounts on motherboard and CPU combos, plus you can choose 1 of 4 games to get absolutely free with the bundle too. Now if you're not familiar with Scan, they're one of the leading UK retailers offering components, pre-built 3XS systems, pro audio video gear and much more. I'll link the site and the bundles down below if you fancy a look. Now for the motherboard bundles they're offering, there are 4 different options. Last week we covered the cheaper options with the U5 and the U7. I'll throw a card up on the screen if you missed that one, but today we're going to be focusing on the higher tier bundles with the U7 and the U9. Now as before, the test system is going to be the same with the exception of the CPU and motherboard of course, and we're also going to use the RTX 5070 Ti to get you a mid to high frame rate with 1440p. Now, of course, the graphics card will dictate the headline frame rates, but as we scale the CPUs, you'll notice how the higher SKUs improve consistency, 1% lows and overall smoothness, especially with the heavier games. Now, let's go over the test setup we're going to be using. It's going to be identical as I mentioned to last week, so we're keeping everything fair. We're using Corsair Vengeance DDR5 running at 8,000 megatransfers per second, the same kit we used in the previous CPU testing, so everything lines up historically. The boot drive is a Seagate Firecooler 530 and cooling is handled by Noctua NH-D15, and power is coming from a Corsair HX1500i. Now I'll put the bundles that Scan are offering on the screen for you to have a look at if you want to look at the previous ones that we looked at, but today we're going to be focusing on the Shadow Strike and Gridfire, the 2 higher end options. So bundle 1 comes with the U7 265K and the MSI Z890 Carbon. Now we covered the U7 in the previous video, but in short you're looking at 20 cores total, 8 performance and 12 efficiency, high boost clocks than the U5 and much stronger multi-threaded performance. This is the tier that really suits people that do a bit of gaming but also edit, maybe stream or run heavier workloads in the background. That's where the platform really starts to feel probably comfortable under heavier load. Now the MSI Z890 Carbon is a step up from the Tomahawk. You get a much more premium VRM design, chunky heat sinks, PCIe 5 support on the GPU and the storage, Wi-Fi 7 and generally a higher end feature set. It's the kind of board you buy if you're planning to sit on the platform for a little while and maybe drop in an Arrow Lake refresh chip later on. So now we've had a look at those 2 components, let's get it all built up and have a look at the Assassin's Creed gameplay. So of course, Assassin's Creed Shadows here, which is a heavier title overall. There's lots of well detail, background streaming, AI and consistent CPU load. Now they did have a notification come up saying that it's going to set the FPS to target 60, which some people may like. And a consistent 60 frames is obviously really good. We will take that off though to see what kind of frame rates we can get as a maximum out of this. So looking at our settings, I'm going to turn the cutscene frame rate to uncapped frame rate right up to 240, and we're turned off dynamic resolution as well just to see what we can achieve in terms of our maximums. Frame gen we're going to leave it off as well just so we're going to get raw performance. Of course you can add some additional DLSS if you'd like to, but I do want to see what we can get as raw performance out of this first. So into the game, we're currently sitting at 78 FPS, 1% lows in the 60s, but it is saying pretty consistent, which is obviously very good. Looks very picturesque. Attention to detail as well in the clothing that everyone's wearing. I also don't want to spoil too much of this for those that actually want to play the story, so we'll pick something that's not really story related to show you over cutscenes and stuff that might give things away. I haven't played one of the Assassin's Creed games for a while, so if you are interested in seeing a bit more of this is something we could do a live stream on, so let me know down below. This is what I'm talking about. This looks like exactly what we need. So we are, yeah, we're in. So sitting around 69 frames, nice. Oh god, that's gruesome. A little bit of a dip there to 50%, but there seems to be because of some little achievement that's popped up. Otherwise though, we do sit around 60 frames in the 1% low, which of course is very good, especially if you're going to use the 60 FPS cap that they mentioned, like I told you about earlier on. Oh blimey, that was don't know if that's going to be YouTube safe or not. Use that limiter if you'd like to obviously maintain a higher FPS, but I just was curious at what this would put out as a maximum, you know, without any cap. That has a lot of detail, a lot of fast-paced action and things like that, lots of things to load. It's going to be very useful there, and this is certainly holding its own. Not seem to have any stutters or anything. Wow, just decapitated, man. His cap is detated, but as you can see, very smooth, no visual glitches or anything like that on the monitor, no screen tearing either, which is obviously very good, and a solid frame rate there and 1% low, typically over 60 FPS, so very good. So for the bundle 4, we're going to the top end, the U9 285K and the Asus Z890 Tough Gaming Plus. You're going to get more cores again, a higher boost, and also the strongest multi-threaded performance of all the 4 bundles. This is aimed for people that want maximum headroom, whether that's for heavy gaming, content creation, or just never wanting to worry about CPU limits. The Asus Z890 Tough Gaming Plus is a solid pairing, good power delivery, PCI Gen 5 support, strong thermals, and also the tough focus that's on durability and reliability. It's not a flashy board, but very capable and makes sense if you want something stable to sit under a high-end CPU without pushing the price even further. Now for this bundle, we're going to be using Battlefield 6, which is a great test for CPU scaling, big maps, lots of players, physics destruction, and constant background work. And let's take a look at that bundle and the game in action. Okay, we're into Battlefield 6. I've just done a couple of sick headshots, unfortunately. You guys didn't see that. I've turned any limits off and things like that. Unfortunately, FrameView doesn't seem to want to work with this at the moment. I'm guessing it's just why it's such a new game. But I have managed to get the console commands on to give you a little overlay that's built into the game itself. So you can get a rough idea. I don't think that's going to show our low 1%, but we're currently sitting around 160 frames a second, and our latency is very low at 5.9, 5.8, 6.1 seconds. So it feels very responsive though. I have done a couple of, I almost got sniped there, a couple of kills that I've done purely from just going around the map without any sound, which I've been very lucky with. It's a shame I didn't have those filmed because they would be really nice to replay. But yeah, it does feel very smooth. There's no tearing or anything like that, nothing visual that I've seen, any errors or anything like that, which is great. It feels very responsive. Now if you are wondering about getting into the FPS little counter for yourself, you just go into the settings. There's the option above the extras that allows you to turn on the console command, and then it's default the tilde key to add that in. And then I can show you here, it's performance or perf overlay .draw FPS 1 to turn it on, and then you can get those stats. It's actually quite a nice little way to do it as well. It's not very invasive like using FrameView for example all the time. That's a rather big overlay, and I find that would probably be pretty annoying to have that on all the time. So couldn't hear that guy at all, as you could see. Very bad. So nice and smooth, feels really solid, no issues like I mentioned either. And I'm going to have to end this quickly before I end up playing this entire round of Conquest that could last very long, as we know with all Battlefield games. Now, how do you choose between these 2 high-end bundles? The U7 and the Carbon's a great balance, strong gaming performance, excellent multitasking, and a premium motherboard that gives you room to grow. The U9 and Tough bundle is for the people that want the best performance available in the lineup and don't want to compromise on headroom. Overkill for pure gaming, but fantastic for mixed workloads, so maybe do some creative stuff in the morning or in the day, and then some gaming at night. Now also, even though Scan lists specific games with each bundle, you're not locked to those titles. You can pick any of the 4 games regardless of which CPU and motherboard bundle you go for. And also worth mentioning as well, this isn't going to be a deep analytical CPU review, it's just a real world showcase of how these bundles perform and what you can expect out of the box. Also, all the gameplay was captured with OBS running in the background, so the CPUs were multitasking throughout. And now that we've got an Arrow Lake refresh confirmed, this feels like a more sensible option to buy into, no longer a dead end, and that makes these bundles far easier to recommend. If you're purely gaming, of course, Team Red offer excellent options, but if you game and also maybe do a bit of editing, creative stuff, record or multitask, the CPUs from Intel actually now make a lot of sense. Now these bundles will be available to the end of the year, and links will be down below if you want to check them out. Big thanks to Scam for sending these out for me to cover. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Please get subscribed and ding the bell if you did. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.